She knelt in chains before the Alpha King who conquered nations, her body marked by the cruelty of lesser men. He did not touch her. He did not speak. But when his eyes met hers in the torchlight, something ancient stirred, a recognition that would break kingdoms, reforge bonds, and prove that the most dangerous thing in his palace was not his throne, but the Omega who refused to look away. The slave market in Valdres reeks of fear and torch smoke. Alara stands on the auction stone, naked except for iron chains, her body a map of cruelty, whip marks across her back, burned scars on her thighs, the Omega brand seared into her left shoulder blade. She is 23, but looks older. Her eyes are empty. The auctioneer lists her defects. Barren. Broken heat cycles. 7 previous owners. Unsuitable for breeding. Suitable for labor only. The crowd of minor nobles loses interest. Used Omegas fetch copper, not silver. Then the crowd parts. Kale Ashenfur enters the market square, and silence falls like a blade. He is 38, scarred from 100 battles, wearing wolf pelts over bronze armor. His presence is suffocating, not from rage, but from absolute authority. Lesser alphas lower their eyes. Betas press against walls. He was not supposed to be here. Kings do not visit slave markets. His second, Cashin, his son and heir at 25, dark-haired and dangerous in his own right, follows 2 steps behind. Cashin's jaw is tight. He despises these places, but cannot show it. Kale stops before Alara's stone. Their eyes meet. She does not look away. She should. Every survival instinct screams to lower her gaze, but something in her is already dead enough not to care. Kale's expression does not change. He studies her scars with a clinical assessment of a warrior evaluating battle damage. This one, he says. His voice is low, a command that expects no resistance. The auctioneer stammers. My Lord King, she is. I did not ask her condition. I said this one. Silver changes hands. Too much silver for a broken Omega. Kale Ashenfur enters the market square, and silence falls like a blade. He is 38, scarred from 100 battles, wearing wolf pelts over bronze armor. His presence is suffocating, not from rage, but from absolute authority. Lesser alphas lower their eyes. Betas press against walls. He was not supposed to be here. Kings do not visit slave markets. His second, Cashin, his son and heir at 25, dark-haired and dangerous in his own right, follows 2 steps behind. Cashin's jaw is tight. He despises these places, but cannot show it. Kale stops before Alara's stone. Their eyes meet. She does not look away. She should. Every survival instinct screams to lower her gaze, but something in her is already dead enough not to care. Kale's expression does not change. He studies her scars with the clinical assessment of a warrior evaluating battle damage. This one, he says. His voice is low, a command that expects no resistance. The auctioneer stammers. My Lord King, she is. I did not ask her condition. I said this one. Silver changes hands. Too much silver for a broken Omega. The slaves are processed in the lower chambers, bathed, examined by healers, assigned quarters. Alara is separated from the others and taken to the upper levels. This is unusual. This is dangerous. She is brought to a chamber adjacent to the king's personal wing. The room contains a sleeping pallet, a basin, clean robes. Luxury by her standards. A trap by any measure. A beta attendant explains. You will serve the king directly. You will enter only when summoned. You will speak only when addressed. You will not look at him unless commanded. The attendant leaves. Alara examines the chamber. 1 window, too high to escape from. 1 door, certainly guarded. She traces the scars on her arms, counting them like prayer beads. 43. 43 times she survived what should have killed her. Outside, wolves howl in the mountain forests. She does not sleep. In the ancient world, chains were not always made of iron. Some were forged in silence, in the space between a king's command and an Omega's refusal to break. If you feel the pull of this bond, let the algorithm know. Your engagement writes the next chapter of stories like this. Dawn comes cold. A beta guard unlocks Alera's door and gestures. No words. She follows. The king's private chamber is vast, stone walls covered in maps of conquered territories, weapons displayed like art, a massive bed draped in wolf pelts that remains untouched. Kale stands before a window overlooking the training yards where warriors spar. He does not turn when she enters. You will attend me during morning routine. Pour water for washing. Lay out training armor. Speak to no one about what you see in this chamber. His tone is not cruel. It is absent of inflection entirely. Alera moves to the basin, pours heated water from the bronze urn. Her hands do not shake. She learned years ago that showing fear invites pain. Kale removes his sleeping tunic. His back is a canvas of scars, claw marks, blade cuts, one particularly brutal wound that curves from shoulder to hip. Evidence of survival, not vanity. He washes in silence. Alera holds the linen towel, eyes lowered as instructed. But she can feel his awareness of her, a predator always knowing where prey stands. When he dresses, his movements are efficient. No wasted motion. Control in everything. You were kept in the Omega settlements before the markets, he says. Not a question. She hesitates. Speaking is dangerous. Yes, Alpha King. How many years? 6. His hands pause on the armor buckle. And before that, a pack breeder. 5 years. Before that. She stops. Speak. A traveling merchant's property. 2 years. Before that, I do not clearly remember. I was 13 when I presented as Omega. Silence stretches. When Kale finally turns to look at her, his expression is unreadable. You will continue this duty each morning. You are dismissed. She retreats, heart pounding for reasons she does not understand. He did not touch her. Most alphas would have. The lack of violation feels like a question she cannot answer. Alera's afternoon duties take her to the Palace Herb Gardens, a walled sanctuary where medicinal plants grow. She is gathering feverfew for the healers when she senses she is not alone. Cashin stands in the archway, watching. You served my father this morning, he says. Yes, Alpha Prince. Look at me when I speak to you. She raises her eyes. His face is harder than his father's in some ways, angular, hungry for something he cannot name. His scent carries the same alpha dominance, but with less control, more heat beneath. Do you know why he chose you? No, Alpha Prince. Neither do I. He steps closer, not threatening, but intense. Do you fear him? The question surprises her into honesty. I do not know, Alpha Prince. I have forgotten how to fear correctly. Something flickers in Cashin's eyes. Almost recognition. My father does not explain himself, but he does nothing without purpose. If you survive his attention, you will either understand him or be destroyed trying. He leaves without another word. Alera's hands tremble now, releasing the tension she contained before. That night, Alera is summoned again, this time to serve during Kale's council meeting. The war chamber holds 12 alpha lords, each commanding their own territories under Kale's rule. The air reeks of dominance and barely contained violence. Alera moves among them like a ghost, pouring wine, never speaking. The council discusses border raids, tribute collections, punishment for rebellious packs. Kale listens more than he speaks, but when he does, the room freezes. One lord, Varg of the Northern Reaches, makes a crude comment about Omega breeding programs. Perhaps the king should sample his new acquisition, demonstrate proper use. Kale's cup hits the stone table. The sound cracks like bone. You will not speak of any servant in this palace in such terms. You will not speak of Omega use in my presence. You will remember that this council exists because I allow it, and my allowance has limits. Varg's face pales. My lord king, I meant no. You are dismissed from this council. Permanent. The room empties of breath. Varg, a powerful alpha in his own right, slinks from the chamber like a scolded pup. Alara stands frozen by the wine urn. She was not defending. She was inventory being discussed. Yet Kale's reaction was protection? Impossible. When the council ends and the lords depart, Kale remains seated. Alara moves to clear the cups. Leave them, he says. Come here. Her body obeys before her mind catches up. She stands 3 paces from his chair. Do you understand what happened tonight? No, Alpha King. Then you are wiser than you appear. His eyes find hers. The lords see kindness as weakness. I cannot afford kindness, but I can afford control. Remember the difference. She bows and retreats, confusion warring with something else, something dangerous that feels like hope. Alara has served Kale for 2 weeks. The routine is unchanging. Morning attendance, garden duties, evening councils. He never touches her. He barely speaks beyond commands. Yet his presence fills every moment. The palace whispers. Why does the king keep a broken Omega in his personal service? Some say punishment. Others say perversion of a different kind. None understand. On the 15th day, Kale's morning silence breaks. You do not eat enough. Alara pauses while folding his training leathers. I eat what is provided, Alpha King. You eat scraps after other servants finish. I have observed. Her hands still. He notices what she eats. It is habit, Alpha King. In the settlements, Omegas eat last. Old patterns persist. You are not in the settlements. My body does not know the difference. The honesty slips out before she can cage it. Vulnerability she did not intend. Kale stands, crosses to where she kneels by the clothing chest. He does not crouch to her level. That would be weakness. But he stops close enough that she smells leather and pine, and something uniquely him. Stand. She obeys. Look at me. She raises her eyes. His gaze travels over her face, the scar through her eyebrow, the hollow of her cheeks, the exhaustion she cannot hide. You will take meals in the servants' hall at designated times. You will consume full portions. This is not a kindness. This is an order. I do not keep broken tools. The phrasing should hurt. Instead, it feels like strange logic she can accept. Yes, Alpha King. That afternoon, Cashin finds her in the palace library, a place she should not be. She was drawn by the scrolls, by the possibility of understanding the political structures that govern her existence. Servants cannot read here, Cashin says from the doorway. Alara closes the scroll on Pack Law immediately. I apologize, Alpha Prince. I will leave. I did not say leave. I said you cannot read here. He enters, closes the door. But my father's personal servants operate under different rules. Did he give you permission? No, Alpha Prince. Then you are stealing knowledge. Yes, Alpha Prince. The admission surprises him into a half-smile, brief, quickly controlled. What were you reading? Pack Law regarding Omega rights. There are none. I know. I wanted to confirm my memory was accurate. Cashin moves to the window, looks out over the training grounds where warriors clash with practice blades. His profile is sharp in the afternoon light. You think understanding the law will save you? No, Alpha Prince. But understanding the law helps me anticipate what comes next. Anticipation is survival. He turns to her fully now. You are not like other Omegas. I am exactly like other Omegas, Alpha Prince. You simply do not speak to Omegas long enough to notice. The boldness should earn punishment. Instead, Cashin laughs, a real sound, rusty from disuse. My father chose well. I begin to understand why. Before she can respond, a commotion erupts in the courtyard below. They both move to the window. A prisoner is being dragged into the square, a beta male, accused of stealing from the royal armory. The punishment for theft is public whipping. Alara's breath catches. She knows the scene intimately. The first lash falls. Then the second. The crowd watches in silence. Cashin's jaw tightens. This is justice under my father's law. No, Alara whispers. This is theater. He looks at her sharply. Explain. Real punishment happens in the dungeons. Public displays are about control. The king wants the people to fear what they see, not what they imagine. Imagination is always worse. Cashin stares at her as if seeing something he missed. Below, Kale appears in the courtyard. He raises a hand. The whipping stops at 10 lashes instead of the prescribed 30. Mercy, Cashin says bitterly. Strategy, Ilera corrects. Enough pain to reinforce law, not enough to create a martyr. Your father rules through calculated brutality, not mindless cruelty. Cashin's eyes narrow. You defend him. I observe him. There is a difference. The silence between them shifts into something else. Mutual recognition of intelligence usually dismissed in their respective roles. You should return to your duties, Cashin finally says. But you may use this library. I will inform the scholars you have my permission. It is a gift she did not ask for and does not fully trust. That night, Ilera is summoned to Kale's chamber at an unusual hour, past midnight. She enters to find him standing on the balcony, stripped to the waist, fresh bandages wrapped around his ribs. The healers could not complete their work. I sent them away. He does not look at her. You will finish. She approaches, cautiously. I am not trained as a healer, Alpha King. You survived 6 years in the Omega settlements. You know field medicine. He is correct. Omegas learned to treat each other's wounds or die. She examines the injury, a training accident, deep bruising, possibly cracked ribs. The bandages are poorly wrapped, male hands too large for delicate work. I must touch you to rewrap properly, Alpha King. Then touch. Her hands are steady as she unwraps the linen. His skin is hot beneath her fingers, muscle tensing at the contact. She has touched many bodies in her life, always under force. This is different. This is trust, though neither would name it. She rewraps with practiced efficiency, tight enough to support, loose enough to allow breathing. You were hurt worse than this in the settlements, he says. Not a question. Yes, Alpha King. How did you survive? Spite. The word slips out. His chest moves with something that might be a laugh. Honest. You value honesty, Alpha King. I have observed this. Most people tell me what I want to hear. I do not know what you want to hear. She ties off the bandage. Complete. He turns to face her, close enough now that she must tilt her head back to meet his eyes. Do you fear me, Ilera? The first time he has used her name. I do not know, Alpha King. Fear was beaten out of me. What remains is awareness of danger without the emotion to accompany it. His hand rises. She does not flinch. He traces the scar through her eyebrow with one finger. The gesture so unexpected, so gentle, that her breath stops. You will, he says quietly. Eventually, you will remember how to feel. And when you do, it will be unbearable. He drops his hand, steps back. You are dismissed. She retreats, heart pounding, body trembling with something she cannot name. Not fear, not desire, recognition. Sometimes a touch is not about taking. Sometimes it is about proving restraint exists even in the most powerful hands. If you understand this language, subscribe. These moments are built for you. The next morning, everything changes and nothing does. Ilera attends Kale's morning routine as always, but the air between them feels charged. He does not mention the previous night. Neither does she. But when she pours water, their fingers brush on the basin edge. The contact lasts half a second. It rewrites everything. Kale's hand stills, then withdraws. He continues his routine as if nothing happened. But Ilera knows. Alphas do not react to accidental touch from Omegas. They do not notice. Yet he noticed. When she lays out his armor, he speaks. You will begin training in the healing chambers. The lead healer, Morna, will instruct you. Your afternoon duties are reassigned. Alpha King, I am not. You question my order? No, Alpha King. Then you are dismissed. She bows and leaves, confusion warring with something that feels dangerously like purpose. Morna is ancient by pack standards, 60 years, gray-haired, with the sharp eyes of someone who has seen every wound flesh can suffer. She examines Alara with clinical assessment. The king sends me a slave to train. Unusual. He wastes no resources, so you must have value I cannot yet see. Alara says nothing. Show me your hands. Alara extends them. Morna traces the scars, the calluses, the crooked finger that healed wrong. Broken twice. Set without proper care. You have delivered breech births. Not a question. Yes, healer. How many? 12. For survived. Morna's expression does not change, but something softens in her eyes. You will learn proper technique here. No Omega should lose children to ignorance when knowledge exists. Over the following hours, Morna teaches bone setting, wound stitching, herbal preparations for pain and fever. Alara absorbs everything with desperate hunger. Knowledge is power in a world that gives her none. Near sunset, Morna speaks while grinding herbs. The king's mate died in childbirth. 17 years ago. Healers failed her. Alara's hands still on the mortar. He executed them? No. He studied healing for a year. Every text, every technique. Then he reformed the healing protocols across the kingdom. The maternal death rate dropped by half. Morna looks up. He does not forgive failure, but he fixes systems instead of punishing individuals. Remember this. Alara processes this. The brutal king who studies medicine to save future mothers. The contradiction should not surprise her anymore. Evening encounter. That evening, Alara encounters Cashin in the corridor outside the healing chambers. He is not alone. A beautiful beta female clings to his arm, laughing at something he said. The woman's scent is thick with pheromones. Cashin's eyes track to Alara. Something flickers in his expression. Guilt? Defiance? Alara, he says, stopping. The beta female's smile tightens. Alpha Prince. Alara bows, moves to pass. How was your first day in the healing chambers? Why does he care? Instructive, Alpha Prince. The beta female tugs his arm. Cashin, darling, the feast is starting. He ignores her. Morna is the best. You will learn much. Yes, Alpha Prince. The beta's eyes narrow on Alara. This is the king's broken Omega? The one everyone whispers about. Cashin's voice goes cold. You will not speak of her in that tone. The female blinks, confused by his defense. Alara bows again. Excuse me, Alpha Prince. She escapes before the tension explodes, but she feels Cashin's eyes on her retreat. Complicated. Everything here is complicated. The War Council meets, and Alara serves wine as usual. Tonight's discussion. Rebellious pacts in the Eastern Territories refusing tribute. The Lords demand military response, blood and submission. Kale listens to each opinion in silence. Then he speaks. We will send negotiators first. Terms. Reduce tribute by 1/3 in exchange for loyalty oaths and military conscription rights. If they refuse, then we crush them. Lord Varg, recently reinstated to council after public apology, sneers. Negotiation is weakness, my king. Kale's gaze could freeze fire. Negotiation is preservation of resources. Dead rebels pay no tribute. Conquered territories require occupation forces. War is expensive. I prefer profit. He pauses. But I am not opposed to war. I am merely practical about when it serves. The council murmurs agreement, cowed by his logic. Alara, refilling cups, notices. Kale rules through fear and reason combined. The fear makes them obey. The reason makes them believe obedience is wise. After the lords depart, Kale remains. Alara begins clearing the chamber. You understand statecraft, he says. She freezes. Alpha King. Your face reveals your thoughts. You were analyzing the discussion. Lie or truth? Truth has worked before. Yes, Alpha King. What did you conclude? That you rule through calculation disguised as brutality. The lords fear your violence, but trust your strategy. It makes them dependent. Silence. Then, you should not be intelligent. It complicates things. I apologize, Alpha King. I did not ask for apology. I stated observation. He stands, approaches. Intelligence in an Omega is dangerous. It invites questions. What questions, Alpha King? He stops close, too close, invading space. Testing. Why you are not broken. Why you observe instead of merely obey. Why I notice. Her heart pounds. I do not know the answers, Alpha King. Neither do I. That is the problem. He leaves. Alara stands alone in the war chamber, pulse racing, body trembling. Something is building between them. Something neither can name or stop. Noticing is the first crack in armor. When a king begins to see an Omega as more than property, the foundations of power shift. If you feel this tension, subscribe, bear witness to what comes next. Weeks pass. Alara's days blur into routine. Morning attendance on Kale, afternoon training with Morna, evening council service. But the routine contains growing tension. Kale watches her more. Small glances. Lingering attention when she enters rooms. He does not touch her, does not speak beyond necessity, but his awareness is constant. In the healing chambers, Morna notices. The king asks about your progress. Alara's hands still on the herb bundles she is sorting. When healer?
Daily.
He wants reports on what you learn, how quickly you absorb techniques. This is not standard practice. What does it mean? Morna's ancient eyes pin her. It means you matter. Mattering to an Alpha King is either salvation or destruction. Sometimes both. That afternoon, Morna allows Alara to assist with a difficult birth, a beta servant in prolonged labor. The baby is breech. The mother is weakening. Alara's hands work from training and terrible memory. She manipulates the position, feels the shift, guides the birth. The baby emerges screaming. The mother survives. Afterward, Alara's hands shake with released terror. She remembers the births she attended in the settlements, the ones where mothers bled out, babies died, and overseers blamed the Omegas for failing to save them. Morna grips her shoulder. You did well. Breathe. I was afraid.
Good.
Fear means you understand what was at stake. Healers without fear make mistakes. That evening, when Alara reports for council duty, Kale is alone in the war chamber, reviewing maps. He looks up when she enters. Morna reports you assisted a difficult birth today. Successfully. Yes, Alpha King. Describe the procedure. She recounts it clinically, position, manipulation, delivery. He listens without interruption. You have done this before. Many times, Alpha King. In the settlements. The success rate?
Low.
1 in 3, perhaps. We lacked proper knowledge and tools. His jaw tightens. 1 in 3. Yes, Alpha King. He returns to his maps, but his shoulders carry new tension. You are dismissed early tonight. Rest. It is the closest he has come to expressing care. The next day, Cashin finds Alara in the palace gardens during her brief free hour. He is alone, no beta companions, no guards. Walk with me, he says. Not an order. A request. They walk the stone paths in silence until they reach the garden's farthest corner, private, hidden by hedges. I must speak plainly, Cashin begins. My father is different with you. Alara's pulse jumps. I do not understand, Alpha Prince. He watches you. He asks about you. He altered palace protocols to give you training. In 25 years, I have never seen him show interest in a servant beyond their function. Perhaps he sees potential utility in a trained healer, Alpha Prince.
No.
Cashin's voice is firm. It is more than that. And it is dangerous. Dangerous how? My father has not touched an Omega since my mother's death. 17 years of absolute restraint. The council whispers he is broken, incapable of desire. But I see how he looks at you when he thinks no one notices. Cashin's eyes bore into hers. If he claims you, the political consequences will be severe. If he does not claim you but continues this, whatever this is, it will drive him mad. Alara's breath comes shallow. He has not touched me, Alpha Prince. He does not. Not touching you is the problem. Do you understand? Restraint requires constant effort. Effort creates tension. Tension seeks release. Cashin runs a hand through his hair, frustrated. I am trying to warn you. My father is the most controlled man I know. But control has limits. What do you suggest I do, Alpha Prince? I do not know. That is what terrifies me. They stand in heavy silence. Finally, Alaris speaks. Your father lost his mate. He rebuilt himself into something functional but not whole. I am not a threat to that reconstruction. I am barely a person in his eyes. You are wrong, Cashin says quietly. You are precisely a threat because you do not see yourself as one. You exist in a space without fear, without ambition, without the performance other Omegas employ. You are real. And reality is dangerous to a man who survives by maintaining distance from everything. He leaves her there, heart pounding, mind racing. That night, Alara is summoned to Kale's chambers at midnight. She enters to find him standing by the fire, stripped to the waist, fresh training wounds across his ribs. He has been fighting hard, pushing his body to limits. Attend this, he says, gesturing to the wounds. She fetches her healing supplies. Now she has her own kit, assembled under Morna's supervision. She works in silence, cleaning, salving, wrapping. His body is rigid under her touch. Every muscle locked. You are tense, Alpha King. The wounds will heal poorly if... Do not speak. She falls silent, continues work, but his breathing is wrong. Too controlled. Too measured. The breathing of someone holding back something immense. When she finishes and steps back, he does not dismiss her. Do you know why I purchased you? His voice is low, dangerous. No, Alpha King. I told myself it was mercy. A broken Omega, spared further abuse. He turns to face her. I lied to myself. Her heart stops. I saw you on that stone, covered in scars, eyes empty, and I saw. He stops, jaw working. I saw someone who survived what should have destroyed them, and I needed to understand how. Alpha King, I am not finished. He steps closer. Every day you serve me, I watch you. You do not flinch. You do not perform. You exist without pretense in a palace built on lies. Do you understand how rare that is? No, Alpha King. I have not desired anyone since my mate died. 17 years of nothing. Then you stand before me, broken and scarred, and I feel something. His hand lifts, hovers near her face, does not touch. This is a problem. Her breath is shallow. Why is it a problem, Alpha King? Because I am the king. Because you are property. Because desire without honor is the thing I despise most, and I have built my entire reign on rejecting it. His hand drops. You will continue your service.
We will not speak of this again.
You are dismissed. She flees, body shaking, mind shattered. He feels something. The most controlled man in the kingdom feels something for her. It changes everything. It changes nothing. Desire restrained is more powerful than desire consummated. When a king admits what he feels but will not take, the real battle begins. Subscribe. Witness the war between want and honor. Alara does not sleep. She reports for morning duty hollow-eyed, hands steady through sheer will. Kale is already awake, standing at his weapon rack, examining blades. He does not acknowledge her entrance. The silence is suffocating. She performs her duties mechanically, water, linens, armor preparation. Neither speaks. When she finishes, she bows to leave. Stay. She freezes. Kale turns. His face is carved stone. Last night was a mistake. I spoke from exhaustion. You will forget what was said. Yes, Alpha King. Do you fear me now? The question surprises her into honesty. No, Alpha King. Why not? I confess desire. I could take you without consequence. But you will not. How do you know? Because you are Kale Ashenfer. You rule yourself more brutally than you rule the kingdom. If you intended to take me, you would have done so the first night. She lifts her eyes to his. You do not take. You endure, just as I do. Something cracks in his expression, brief, quickly controlled. You should not understand me. Perhaps that is why you notice me, Alpha King. I understand what others miss. And what do I miss about you? That I am not afraid of your desire. I am afraid of my own. The confession hangs between them like a blade. Kale crosses the distance in 3 strides, stops a breath away. What do you desire, Elara? Her name in his mouth is a weapon. To matter, she whispers. Not as property.
Not as a body.
As a person who endured and survived and still exists despite everything designed to erase me. His hand lifts, cups her jaw. The touch is gentle, devastating. You matter. That is the problem. Then he steps back, breaking contact. Return to your duties. We will manage this. Somehow. She leaves on shaking legs, the ghost of his touch burning her skin. Lord Varg and 3 other nobles corner Elara in the corridor outside the healing chambers. Their presence is a wall of alpha dominance, deliberately oppressive. The broken Omega. Varg sneers. Tell me, does the king's interest in you extend beyond wound tending? Elara keeps her eyes lowered. I serve as ordered, Lord Alpha. The king has not taken an Omega to his bed in 17 years. Yet he keeps you close. Whispers circulate. I know nothing of whispers, Lord Alpha. Varg steps closer, invading space. Perhaps you need reminding of your place. Perhaps a night in my chambers would. Cashin's voice cuts through the corridor like a blade. Step away from her.
Now.
The December 22nd. Noble's turn. Cashin stands 20 paces away, but his alpha presence floods the space. Younger than these lords, but far more dangerous. Alpha Prince. Varg recovers quickly. We were merely conversing. You are cornering a servant under my father's protection. This violates palace law. Cashin's eyes are ice. Do you wish to test whether my father's protection extends to discipline I might impose? The nobles retreat like scolded wolves. When they are gone, Cashin approaches Elara. Are you harmed? No, Alpha Prince. They will try again. The council senses something shifting. My father's attention on you makes you a target. He pauses. I can offer you protection, but it requires truth between us. Why does he watch you? Elara meets his eyes. Because I survived what should have destroyed me. And he needs to understand how. Cashin studies her face. You love him. It is not a question. The accusation steals her breath. I do not. Do not lie. I see it. The way you speak of him. The way you defend his actions even to yourself. Cashin's voice softens. My father is not capable of love. Not anymore. What he feels for you is recognition, perhaps respect, but not the bond you hope for. I hope for nothing, Alpha Prince. Hope was beaten out of me years ago. Then what do you feel? Confusion.
Fear.
And something dangerous I cannot name. Cashin nods slowly. That is honest. Guard that honesty. In this palace, it may be the only thing that keeps you alive. That night, during council session, a servant enters with wine, new, unfamiliar. Elara is across the room, but her instincts scream warning. The servant's hands shake. His scent is wrong, fear, and something chemical beneath. Kale reaches for the cup. Elara moves without thinking. She crosses the chamber, knocks the cup from his hand. Wine spills across stone. The servant's eyes widen in panic.
Poison, she says.
Night Veil root. I smell it. Kale stands slowly. How do you know this scent? The settlements used it for controlling difficult omegas. I know the smell intimately. Guards seize the servant. He breaks immediately, confesses. Lord Varg hired him, promised freedom in exchange for the king's death. Kale's face shows nothing. Take him to the dungeons. Bring Varg. After the chamber clears of all but Cashin and Elara, Kale turns to her. You saved my life. Yes, Alpha King.
Why?
You owe me nothing. I am your captor. You are also the only Alpha who has not harmed me. That is worth preserving. Cashin watches this exchange, expression unreadable. Kale approaches Elara slowly, as one approaches a spooked animal. You understand what this means. I am now in your debt. A king in debt to an Omega slave. I ask for no payment, Alpha King. That is not how debt works. His eyes search her face. Name your price. She should ask for freedom. Any sane Omega would. Instead, I want to continue training as a healer. I want to help others survive what I survived. That is all. Something shifts in Kale's expression. Surprise, perhaps respect. Granted. And you will be moved to chambers in the protected wing. No lord will touch you without declaring war on me directly. Alpha King, that is too much. It is barely enough. He pauses. You matter, Elara. I said this before. Tonight you proved you matter more than protocol allows. I will manage the consequences. After she is dismissed, Cashin speaks. Father, the council will see this as... I know what they will see. Let them talk. She saved my life through knowledge gained from trauma. That deserves recognition. Recognition or something else? Kale's silence is answer enough. The next morning, Lord Varg is executed in the public square. Not by blade, that would be too quick. By wolf. Kale has him stripped and released into the arena, where 3 hunting wolves wait. The kill is brutal, slow, meant to terrify. Elara watches from her new chambers. Larger, finer, with a window overlooking the square. She does not want to watch but cannot look away. This is what Kale does to those who threaten what he values. This is the man whose touch she craves. The contradiction should terrify her. Instead, it clarifies something. Kale is brutal because the world is brutal. He does not have the luxury of gentleness. But within that brutality, he carves out small spaces of protection for those who earn it. She earned it. That evening, when she attends him, the chamber feels different. Charged. Did you watch? He asks. Yes, Alpha King. Does it change your opinion of me? No, Alpha King. I have always known what you are. And what am I? A killer who chooses his targets carefully. A king who rules through fear because mercy is mistaken for weakness. A man who still remembers how to protect, even if he has forgotten how to love. He crosses to her, stops close. You see too much. You allow me to see it, Alpha King. If you wanted me blind, you would have chosen a different servant. His hand lifts, traces the scar on her shoulder, the Omega brand. His touch is feather-light, reverent. I want to erase every mark they put on you. You cannot erase scars, Alpha King. You can only build new skin around them. Then I will give you space to build. It is not a declaration of love. It is better, a promise of respect, of recognition, of allowing her to become whole in her own time. She bows her head, not in submission, in acknowledgement. When she leaves that night, something has shifted irrevocably between them. The foundation is laid. What builds upon it will change everything. Protection is not possession. When a king spills blood to defend an Omega's value, he declares war on his own restraint. If you feel this shift, subscribe. The reckoning approaches. Elara's elevation changes palace dynamics immediately. Servants who ignored her now watch warily. Lords who dismissed her now calculate angles. Cashin observes everything with growing concern. Morna notices during healing training. You have become dangerous. I am still Omega. Still property. Property the king defended publicly. Property moved to protected chambers. Property given status, without title. Morna grinds herbs with deliberate force. This is how power begins. Recognition before formal claim. He will not claim me. Perhaps not. But everyone believes he will. Belief shapes reality. That afternoon, a beta noblewoman approaches Elara in the gardens, Lady Senna, Cashin's rumored lover. She is beautiful, poised, everything Elara is not. You are the healer, Senna says. Not friendly, but not hostile. Yes, lady. Walk with me. They walk the stone paths in silence until Senna speaks. The prince is distracted. He speaks of you often, not romantically, but with concern. He fears for his father. I mean no harm to the Alpha King, lady. I believe you. But meaning and causing are different things. Senna stops, faces her. The king has been dead inside since his mate passed. His body functions, but his heart does not. You have awakened something. Whether that is healing or harm remains unclear. What would you have me do, lady? I do not know. That is why I am speaking with you instead of plotting against you. Senna's eyes are sharp. If you hurt him, either through presence or absence, Cashin will be forced to choose between his father and the kingdom. I love Cashin. I will not watch him torn apart. I seek nothing from the Alpha King beyond what he offers. Then you are wiser than most, or more damaged. Senna's tone softened slightly. The prince says you are intelligent. Use that intelligence carefully. This palace devours the careless. She leaves Alara alone, heart racing with new understanding. She is not just Kale's concern. She is a political piece affecting multiple players. That evening, instead of council duty, Alara receives an unprecedented summons. Dinner with the king. Private. In his chambers. She arrives in her finest servant garb, still simple, but clean and whole. Kale waits at a small table laden with food far finer than she has eaten in years.
Sit, he says.
She hesitates. Alpha King, this is not appropriate. I am the king. I define appropriate.
Sit.
She obeys, perching on the edge of the chair like she might need to flee. Kale serves her himself, filling her plate, pouring wine. The reversal of servant and served is disorienting. Eat, he commands. She does, though each bite feels like swallowing stones under his watchful gaze. You saved my life 3 days ago, he begins. Yet you will not accept reward beyond continued training. Why? I told you, Alpha King. I want to help others survive. That is partial truth. What is the rest? She sets down her fork, meets his eyes. Because anything else you offer would complicate what exists between us. And what exists is already impossibly complicated. What exists between us? Recognition. You see me as a person. I see you as more than a monster. In this world, that is dangerous ground. Because I am king, and you are property. Yes. He leans back, studies her. What if you were not property? Her breath catches. Alpha King. Hypothetically, if I freed you, gave you status as a free Omega, what would you choose? The question is a trap or a test. Possibly both. I would choose to remain here. Continue training. Serve where my skills are useful.
Why?
Freedom means leaving. Starting elsewhere. Freedom means choice. I would choose this. She pauses. Unless my presence harms you, Alpha King, then I would choose to leave. Something flickers in his expression. Pain, quickly masked. Your presence does not harm me. It disturbs me. There is a difference. How do I disturb you, Alpha King? He stands, paces to the window. You make me remember I am still capable of feeling. For 17 years, I have been functional but not alive. You walk into a room, and I am suddenly, unbearably alive again. Do you understand how disorienting that is? She stands slowly. Yes, Alpha King. Because you do the same to me. He turns sharply. Explain. In the settlements, I learned to shut down everything soft. Emotion is weakness when predators surround you. I became efficient at survival, but empty of self. She steps closer. Then you looked at me on the auction stone, and I felt seen. Every day since, you have forced me to remember I am still human beneath the damage. It terrifies me. They stand across the chamber, the distance both necessary and unbearable. This cannot become what it wishes to become, Kale says finally. I am the king. I have responsibilities. The kingdom cannot afford a ruler who is distracted by. By what, Alpha King?
Say it.
By desire that will not be satisfied. By need I cannot honor without dishonoring everything I rebuilt after she died. His voice cracks slightly. I swore when my mate passed that I would never allow myself that vulnerability again. Love makes kings weak. I am not asking for love, Alpha King. I am not asking for anything. That is the problem. You ask for nothing, which makes me want to give everything. The confession hangs between them, raw and devastating. Alara crosses the chamber slowly, stops 3 paces away, close but not touching. "Then give me honesty," she says. "Give me your continued protection, so I can become the healer I am meant to be. Give me the space to exist in your world without requiring I become something I am not. That is all I need." "That is not all." "No," she admits. "But it is all I will ask." Kale's hand lifts, hovers near her face. "If I touch you now, I will not stop a touch." "Then do not touch me, Alpha King. Not until you can do so without it destroying what you have built." His hand drops. The restraint costs him visibly. "You are dismissed." She bows and retreats, body trembling. They are balanced on a knife edge. One slip will cut them both. The next morning, Cashin intercepts Alara outside the healing chambers. "You dined privately with my father last night." "Yes, Alpha Prince." The servants gossip. The lords calculate. "You are becoming a liability whether you intend it or not." "I know, Alpha Prince."
Do you?
"Because from where I stand, you're playing a game without understanding the rules. My father is capable of many things, but sustained restraint in the face of genuine desire is not one of them. Eventually he will break. Or I will." Cashin's eyes sharpen. "You want him. I want many impossible things, Alpha Prince. Wanting does not mean taking. In this palace, wanting usually does mean taking. The fact that neither of you is taken is the only thing keeping you both alive." He steps closer. "There are factions in the council who would use this to destabilize my father's rule. If he claims you improperly, they will call him hypocrite, he who reformed laws against Omega abuse, now keeping an Omega for pleasure. If he does not claim you but remains distracted, they will call him weak. Either way, the kingdom suffers. What would you have me do?"
Leave.
"I can arrange passage to the Western Territories. New identity, new life, freedom. The offer is genuine, also terrifying. And if I choose to stay, then you become the spark that either forges a new kingdom or burns down the old one. There is no middle ground." Alara absorbs this. The Alpha King makes his own choices.
So do I.
If the kingdom burns, at least it burns from honest fire rather than slow rot. Cashin stares at her, then laughs bitterly. "You are perfect for him. Both of you would rather burn the world than compromise your truth." He leaves her standing in the corridor, the weight of choice crushing her chest. That night, Alara is summoned again. Kale stands in his chambers, fresh from training, body radiating heat and tension. "I have decided," he says without preamble. "I cannot claim you as mine. The political cost is too high. But I cannot release you either. So we will exist in this space between." "What does that mean, Alpha King?" "It means I will protect you, honor you, give you status through action if not title. But I will not take what I have no right to take. And if I wish to be taken?" The words escape before she can stop them. Kale crosses the distance in 2 strides, grips her shoulders. Not rough, but firm. "Do not say such things unless you mean them absolutely." "I mean them, Alpha King." His forehead drops to hers, the first truly intimate contact. His breath is ragged. "You are killing me, woman. We are killing each other." They stand like that, breathing the same air, not kissing, not claiming, but bonded in restraint. Finally, Kale pulls back. "I will not dishonor you by taking without proper claim. When I am ready, if I am ever ready, I will do this correctly. Until then, we endure." "How long can we endure, Alpha King?" "I do not know, but we will discover together." It is not a declaration of love. It is better, a promise of partnership in suffering, of shared restraint, of building towards something neither can yet name. When Alara leaves that night, she knows. The bond has begun. Not through touch, but through the choice not to touch. Not through claim, but through the decision to honor what exists between them despite every reason not to. The strongest bonds are forged in restraint. When a king and an Omega choose endurance over indulgence, they build something empires cannot break. Subscribe. Witness what restraint creates. 2 weeks pass in excruciating tension. Kale and Alara maintain their dance, close but not touching, aware but not claiming. The palace watches. The council plots. Lord Thorin, eldest of the surviving nobles, calls emergency council session. Kale sits his throne, expression carved ice. Cashin stands at his right hand, alert to danger. Alara serves as always. Her presence is now expected, which is itself unusual. Thorin speaks. My king, the council wishes to address a delicate matter. Your attention to the Omega healer has created uncertainty. Clarification is required. Kale's voice could freeze blood. Clarify your question, Thorin. Has she been claimed? The chamber goes silent.
No.
Does the king intend to claim her? That is not the council's concern. With respect, my king, it is. If you intend claim, proper protocols exist. An Omega of no house, damaged and barren, elevated to king's consort would require. I did not ask for political advice on personal matters. Thorin persists, emboldened by other lords' support. The kingdom requires clarity. Since your mate's death, you have been unavailable. If you intend to remain so, the succession must be secured through the crown prince's immediate marriage. If you intend to take a consort, the council must approve suitability. We exist in limbo. Kale stands slowly. The room's temperature drops. You presume much, Thorin. My personal life does not require council approval. My son's marriage timing does not require council approval. What requires approval is your continued breathing in my presence after such presumption. Thorin pales but stands firm. The law states. I wrote the law. Do not lecture me on its contents. Kale descends from his throne, each step measured. The Omega in question saved my life. She has earned protected status and training privileges. Nothing more has occurred. Nothing more will occur without proper consideration. Your concern is noted and dismissed. My king, another lord, Rendal, speaks up. The concern is not impropriety, but distraction. You are different, less focused. The Eastern rebellions grow because you delay military response. Trade negotiations stall because you miss meetings. This is not the Kale Ashenfur who conquered 12 territories. The accusation of weakness hits its mark. Kale's jaw tightens. Cashin steps forward. You overstep, Rendal. My father's focus is absolute. If you perceive weakness, perhaps your own judgment is failing. Alpha Prince, we speak from concern, not. You speak from fear. Alara's voice cuts through the chamber. Every head turns. She stands by the wine table, no longer invisible. Omega, Thorin hisses. You do not have voice in council. And yet I speak. She sets down the wine urn, faces the lords. You fear the Alpha King's humanity. For 17 years, he was a perfect weapon, no weaknesses, no distractions, absolute brutality. You benefited from his ruthlessness. Now he shows signs of being more than weapon and you panic. Because human kings are unpredictable. Human kings might question whether your territories are justly held. Human kings might notice how you profit from Omega trafficking while he works to end it. The chamber erupts. Lords shouting, demanding her removal, calling for punishment. Kale's voice cuts through like a blade. Silence. Instant obedience. He turns to Alara. His expression is unreadable. You risk much speaking so. Yes, Alpha King. Do you believe what you said? Yes, Alpha King. He studies her for a long moment, then turns to the council. She speaks partial truth. I have been distracted. This ends now. He looks at Alara. You will no longer serve in council sessions. Your presence creates complications I can no longer afford. The dismissal lands like a blow. Alara bows. Yes, Alpha King. As she retreats, Kale continues. The council wants focus. You will have it. Cashin, prepare military response to Eastern territories. Thorin, finalize trade negotiations by week's end. Rendal, review Omega trafficking enforcement. Any territory still operating mills will be occupied by force. We return to efficiency. This council is dismissed. The lords file out, satisfied they have won. Cashin lingers. Father, what you just did was necessary. They were correct. I have been compromised. By caring for someone? That is not weakness. In a king it is. Kale's voice is hollow. I will fix this. Alara returns to her chambers, dismissed from the one duty that kept her near Kale daily. The message is clear. Their proximity must end. Morna finds her that evening, brings healing supplies. I heard what happened in council. I spoke out of turn. You spoke truth. Truth is rarely welcome. Morna begins organizing herbs. The king protects you by pushing you away. Do you understand?
Yes.
If I am removed from his daily life, the council's concerns fade. I become irrelevant. And safe. Lords who saw you as leverage lose interest when you no longer have access. I do not want safety. I want, Alara stops. You want him. The one thing you cannot have. Tears threaten, but Alara forces them back. She has not cried in years. She will not start now. It does not matter what I want. It always matters. Even when we cannot have it. That night, Alara lies awake in her fine chambers, more isolated than she ever was in the settlements. There, she had sister Omegas who understood. Here, she has no one. Except, perhaps, Cashin. The next morning, Cashin seeks her in the healing chambers. Walk with me, he says. Not a request. They walk the palace walls, where guards are distant enough not to overhear. My father is destroying himself, Cashin says without preamble. He thinks pushing you away will restore his focus. Instead, it is consuming him. He snaps at advisors, makes reckless training choices, barely sleeps. What would you have me do, Alpha Prince? I am banned from his presence. You are banned from council. Not from existing in the palace. Not from being where he might encounter you. Cashin stops, faces her. I am suggesting strategic proximity. You want me to pursue him? I want you to refuse to disappear. The council thinks removing you from his sight removes you from his mind. Prove them wrong. This could backfire. He could banish me entirely. Or he could finally stop pretending he can function without acknowledging what you have become to him. Cashin's eyes are intense. I watched my father become a ghost after my mother died. For 17 years, he has been functionally dead. You brought him back to life. I will not watch him kill himself again to satisfy cowardly lords. You risk much supporting this. You risk more. But I believe you are strong enough to endure what comes. It is the first time anyone has named her strength without caveat. What if the Alpha King does not want to be brought back to life? What if he prefers the ghost? Then you will have your answer. But you deserve to know for certain. Alara considers. Every instinct says hide, survive, do not make waves. But she has been hiding her whole life. I will not chase him, she says finally. But I will not disappear either. If he wants me gone, he will have to command it directly. Cashin smiles.
Good.
Now the evening meal in the Great Hall you will attend. Public, but not invasive. Let him see you living, thriving, unbroken by his dismissal. That evening, Alara enters the Great Hall during public meal, when nobles, warriors, and upper servants dine together. She has avoided this space, preferring isolation. Tonight, she walks in wearing her healer robes, head high. The hall quiets. Eyes track her movement. Kale sits at the high table with Cashin and key lords. His eyes find her immediately. She does not approach the high table. She sits with the healers, engages in quiet conversation with Morna.
She eats.
She exists visibly, refusing to be erased. Throughout the meal, she feels Kale's attention like physical weight. Lord Thorin makes a crude comment to his neighbor, loud enough to carry. The broken Omega seeks attention. Pathetic. Before Kale can respond, Cashin stands. Lord Thorin, you will address the king's healer with respect, or you will address me in the training ring. Choose. Thorin pales. Cashin is younger, but legendary, with a blade. My apologies, Alpha Prince. I meant no disrespect. You meant exactly that. But you are correct. You will not repeat it. The hall returns to tense normalcy. After the meal, as Alara walks the corridor toward her chambers, she hears footsteps behind her. She knows that gait. You defy me. Kale's voice is low, dangerous. She stops, does not turn. No, Alpha King. I simply exist. That is not defiance. He moves around to face her. His expression is storm clouds barely contained. I removed you from council to protect you. I know, Alpha King. Yet you appear in the Great Hall, visible to every lord who wishes to use you against me. Would you prefer I hide? Become invisible? Prove the council correct that I am a weakness to be concealed. His jaw works. You are being deliberately difficult. I am being deliberately present. There is a difference. They stand in the empty corridor, tension crackling like lightning. This does not change what I decided, Kale says. I cannot afford distraction. Then do not be distracted. See me as another servant, another healer, another person in your palace who simply exists. She pauses. Unless you cannot. Unless every time you see me, you are reminded you are still capable of feeling. In which case, the problem is not my presence. It is your unwillingness to acknowledge what that feeling means. His hand shoots out, grips her arm. Not painful, but firm. You push too far. Perhaps. Or perhaps I push exactly far enough to force you to decide. Will you live again, or remain a ghost who rules, but does not exist? His grip tightens, then releases. He steps back. You think you understand me. I understand survival. I understand what it costs to shut down everything human in order to endure. I understand the terror of allowing yourself to feel again, because feeling means vulnerability, and vulnerability means potential destruction. She meets his eyes steadily. The difference between us is that I have decided the risk is worth taking. You have not. Kale stares at her, something breaking behind his eyes. I could banish you, send you to the Western Territories, free you entirely. You could. That is your right as king. But I will not. Why not, Alpha King? Because you are right. God damn you, you are right. His voice cracks. I am tired of being ghost. But I do not know how to be anything else without destroying everything I built. Alara steps closer, cautious, as one approaches a wounded predator. Then learn. Not alone. Not all at once. But learn. His hand lifts, traces her jaw. The touch is barely there, but it rewrites everything. If I do this, if I allow myself to feel, it will change the kingdom. Perhaps the kingdom needs changing, Alpha King. He holds her gaze for a long moment, then drops his hand. Return to your chambers. Tomorrow, you will resume your duties. All of them. Including council, Alpha King? Including council. Let the Lord see I am not ashamed of what you have become to me, even if I cannot yet name it. It is not a declaration of love. It is not a claim. But it is acknowledgement which is rarer and more valuable. Alara bows and retreats, heart racing with cautious hope. Behind her, Kale leans against the stone wall, breathing hard. A man who has just chosen to start living again after 17 years of death. Choosing to feel after years of numbness is the bravest act. When a king allows an omega to pull him back from the ghost he became, kingdoms shift. Subscribe. Witness the transformation. Morning arrives cold and clear. Alara reports to Kale's chambers as before, uncertain what this resumption means. He stands at his weapon rack, examining blades. When she enters, he turns. We proceed as normal, he says. You attend my morning routine. You serve in council. You train as healer. The lords will talk. Let them. Yes, Alpha King. She performs her duties. The routine is familiar, but the air has changed. Kale watches her with something new in his eyes. Not hunger exactly, but allowance. Permission to exist fully in his space. When she pours water, their fingers brush. Neither pulls away immediately. The council will test this, he says quietly. They will push to see if I break discipline. Will you, Alpha King? I do not know. That is what terrifies me. Honesty. Raw and devastating. That evening's council is full attendance. Every lord present, watching, calculating. Alara serves wine, moving through the chamber with practiced efficiency. But she no longer makes herself invisible. She exists. Lord Thorin speaks first. My king, the Eastern Territories have sent response to our demands. They refuse terms. Military action is required. Kale reviews the scrolls. Cashin, how many warriors can we deploy without compromising border defenses? 2,000, father. 3 weeks march. Casualties estimated? High. The Eastern packs fight on home territory. They have mountain advantages. Kale considers. The old Kale would have ordered immediate attack, accepted casualties as cost of dominance. Instead, draft new terms. Reduce tribute by half instead of 1/3. Offer trade partnerships instead of occupation. Give them 3 days to respond before military deployment. The council murmurs shock. This is not the brutal king they know. Rendal speaks. My king, showing flexibility is strategic. Kale cuts him off. Dead rebels pay no tribute. Destroyed territories require rebuilding costs. War is last resort, not first option. Any lord who disagrees may lead the assault personally and cover costs from his own treasury. Silence. No volunteers. As I thought. Draft the terms. Alara refills Kale's cup. Their eyes meet briefly. She sees it. He is changing strategy, allowing humanity to inform brutality. Because of her? Partially. But also because he is finally allowing himself to rule as something more than weapon. After the council disperses, Thorin lingers. My king, a word in private? Kale gestures Alara to stay. She remains. Speak. Thorin's jaw tightens. The council grows concerned. You are different. More lenient. We worry this softness will invite challenge. You worry I am weak. I worry you are distracted. Kale stands slowly, moves around the table until he faces Thorin directly. Let me clarify something. I am not weak. I am not soft. I am efficient. The old way, constant war, brutal suppression, fear-based control, is expensive and unsustainable. I am introducing calculated mercy, not from kindness, but from pragmatism. He pauses. If you see this as weakness, you are invited to test it. The arena is available. Thorin backs down immediately. No test necessary, my king. I merely express concern. Noted. Dismissed. When they are alone, Kale turns to Alara. He is not wrong. I am different. Is that problematic, Alpha King? It is terrifying. What if I lose my edge? What if kindness makes me vulnerable? What if brutality has been making you vulnerable all along, and you never notice? The question stops him cold. Explain. Fear-based rule requires constant reinforcement. You must always be more brutal, more terrifying, or people adapt. It is exhausting and escalating. She approaches cautiously. Respect-based rule is harder to establish, but more stable once achieved. People follow from choice, not compulsion. You learned this in the Omega settlements? I learned this by surviving them. The overseers who ruled through fear alone were eventually killed by desperate Omegas. The ones who balanced fear with occasional fairness lasted longer. Not because we loved them, but because we saw them as predictable. Predictable meant survivable. Kale absorbs this. You are teaching a king how to rule. I am sharing observations, Alpha King. You will do with them what you will. He moves closer, into her space. What else do you observe? That you are afraid of being happy. Because happiness feels like betrayal of your mate's memory. His hand lifts, cups her face. You see everything. Only because you let me. Why do you think I let you? Because you're tired of being invisible to yourself. His thumb traces her lower lip, the first truly intimate touch beyond restraint-driven contact. If I kiss you now, everything changes. Everything has already changed, Alpha King. Not yet. Not irrevocably. Then do not kiss me. Not until you are ready for irrevocable. His forehead drops to hers. They breathe the same air, balanced on the edge of everything. You destroy me, woman. We destroy each other. But perhaps we also build something from the wreckage. He pulls back, breathing hard. Return to your chambers. I need to think. She retreats, body trembling, knowing they are one moment away from the point of no return. The next morning, Cashin joins Alara in the healing chambers. My father is different, he says without preamble. Lighter somehow, less haunted. Is this problematic, Alpha Prince?
No.
It is miraculous. Cashin sits on the work table, informal. I have wanted him back, truly back, since I was 8 years old. You have done what I could not. I did nothing, Alpha Prince. I simply existed near him. You did everything. You showed him life is worth living again. Cashin's expression grows serious. But there will be consequences. The Eastern Territories are just the beginning. Lords who benefited from his brutality will resist this change. Some may even move against him. Civil war.
Possibly.
Or assassination attempts. Or political maneuvering to force him back into the ghost he was. Cashin meets her eyes. Can you endure what is coming? Because once he fully claims you, and he will, it is inevitable now, you become target and symbol simultaneously. I have endured worse, Alpha Prince. Have you? Torture is finite. Politics is eternal. The truth of this lands heavily. What would you have me do? Be strong enough for both of you. My father is powerful, but he is also damaged. 3 days later, the Eastern Territories respond. They accept the new terms. The council is shocked. Cashin is impressed. Kale is vindicated. This is the new way, he announces in council. Pragmatism over pride. Profit over punishment. Any lord who cannot adapt will be replaced. It is a quiet revolution, but revolution nonetheless. That evening, Kale summons Alara to his chambers. She arrives to find him on the balcony, staring at the mountains. They accepted terms, he says when she joins him. Yes, Alpha King. Because I listened to you. Because I chose strategy over ego. You chose what was already in you, Alpha King. I simply reflected it back. He turns to her. In the moonlight, his scars are silver, his eyes molten. I am going to claim you, he says. Not tonight. Not tomorrow. But soon. You should know this. Her heart stops. Alpha King.
Do not speak.
Let me finish. He steps closer. When I do this, it will be properly. Before the council, before the kingdom, I will make you my consort with full honors. I will not dishonor you by taking you in shadows. The council will never approve. The council does not rule me. I rule the council. His hand cups her face. You saved my life twice. Once from poison. Once from the death I chose after my mate passed. I will not repay that by making you a hidden thing. What if I do not want to be consort? What if I only want? What do you want, Alara?
You. Just you.
Not the crown, not the status.
You.
His control breaks. He kisses her. It is not gentle. It is 17 years of starvation finally fed. His hands grip her waist, pull her against him. Her hands fist in his tunic. They kiss like drowning people finally breaking the surface. When they break apart, both are breathing hard. Irrevocable, he gasps. You said everything changes. You were right. Are you afraid, Alpha King? Terrified, but no longer willing to live without this. He kisses her again, softer this time.
Reverent.
Go, he finally whispers. Before I forget, I am a king who promised to do this honorably. She retreats on shaking legs, lips burning, body alive for the first time in years. Behind her, Kale grips the balcony railing, breathing hard, a man who has just chosen life over death, knowing full well the cost. The first kiss after years of restraint is not gentle, it is recognition made flesh. When a king finally allows himself to claim what he needs, the world must adapt. Subscribe. Bear witness to what comes next. Dawn finds Alara awake, staring at the ceiling, lips still burning from Kale's kiss. Everything has changed. Everything is terrifying. When she reports for morning duty, Kale is already dressed, standing at the window. "We need to speak plainly," he says without turning. "Yes, Alpha King. Last night was not a mistake, but it was premature." He faces her. "I will not take you to my bed until I can claim you properly before the kingdom. This means political maneuvering, council approval, formal ceremonies. It will take time." "How much time, Alpha King?"
Weeks.
"Perhaps a month. Can you endure the waiting?" "I have endured worse. Not this. Not wanting something and being denied it by choice rather than force. That is different torture." She approaches slowly. "Then we endure together, as we have been." His hand lifts, traces her jaw. "You make me believe in possibilities I thought dead. You make me believe I am worth more than survival." They stand close, not kissing, but connected by something deeper. Mutual recognition, hard-won and precious. "The council meets today," Kale says. "I will announce my intention to take a consort. I will not name you yet. That gives them time to adjust to the idea before facing the reality. But they will know change is coming. They will resist, Alpha King. Let them. I am done ruling as a ghost." The council chamber is full. Every lord present, sensing something significant. Kale does not sit his throne. He stands before it, commanding the room through presence alone. "I have ruled this kingdom for 19 years, he begins. 17 of those years, I have been functionally dead, a weapon without heart, executing duty without life. This served the kingdom's needs after my mate's death. It no longer serves." The council shifts uneasily. "I announce my intention to take a consort. The selection process will begin immediately. All eligible omegas of appropriate status may be presented for consideration." The lords relax slightly. This is traditional, expected. Then Kale continues, "However, I will make final choice regardless of council preference. The consort will be chosen for compatibility, intelligence, and strength, not bloodline, not political advantage, not beauty. I seek partner, not ornament." Thorin speaks. "My king, this is unusual. Traditionally, the council advises. The council may advise. I will decide. Any lord who cannot accept this may resign from council immediately. No one moves. Good. Prepare your presentations. I will review candidates in 2 weeks." It is theater. Kale knows whom he will choose. But the process gives the illusion of propriety, makes the inevitable more palatable. After the council disperses, Cashin remains. "You will choose her regardless of whom they present," Cashin says. "Yes. They will present highborn omegas. Beautiful, trained in politics and court protocol. They will make Alara look unsuitable by comparison. Then they will fail to understand what makes her suitable." Cashin smiles. "I will support this.
Publicly.
It will help. It will also make you a target. I have been a target since birth. I am not concerned. Father and son share a look of mutual respect and understanding." Over the next 2 weeks, the council presents 12 omegas, all highborn, all beautiful, all trained since childhood for this role. Alara watches from the servant's corner, heart aching with each perfect presentation. Lady Isara, elegant, politically astute, from a powerful northern house. She speaks 3 languages and plays instruments. Lady Mora, stunning, trained in diplomacy, connects Kale to the wealthy southern territories. Lady Senna, yes, Cashin's former lover, presented by Lord Rindal as a way to bind the crown prince's loyalty. Each one is everything Alara is not. After the presentations, Kale thanks the ladies and promises consideration. They retreat, hopeful and confident. When the chamber clears, only Cashin and Alara remain. "You understand this is procedure," Cashin tells her. He has already chosen. "They are all better suited than I am, Alpha Prince. They are all better trained. That is different from better suited." That night, Kale summons Alara to his chambers. She arrives to find him pouring wine with shaking hands, the first time she has seen him truly nervous. I watched you today, he says. Watching me review other Omegas. It hurt you. Yes, Alpha King. I am sorry for that. But the process is necessary. The council needs to believe they had input. I understand, Alpha King. He crosses to her, hands her a cup of wine.
Drink.
You are too tense. She sips, the alcohol burning warmth through her chest. I need you to understand something, Kale says. Every Omega presented today was objectively suitable, politically advantageous, beautiful,
Skilled.
any of them would make an acceptable consort by traditional standards. Her heart sinks. Yes, Alpha King. And I felt nothing. I stood there, watching perfect candidate after perfect candidate, and felt absolutely nothing. He sets down his cup, frames her face with both hands. Then you entered to serve wine, and I felt everything. Do you understand? You, with your scars and your trauma and your complete lack of political training, you make me feel human again. That is worth more than any political alliance. Tears threaten. She has not cried in years. I am not worthy of this, Alpha King. Neither am I. But we will become worthy together. He kisses her softly, then deeper. His hands slide into her hair, gentle despite their strength. When they break apart, both are breathing hard. 2 more days, he gasps. I announce my choice in 2 days. Can you wait? Yes, Alpha King. Good. Because after that, there is no going back. You will be mine before the kingdom, and I will be yours. Irrevocably. 2 days later, the council reconvenes. The presented Omegas sit in the gallery, hopeful and nervous. Alara serves wine, as she has throughout the process. Kale stands before his throne, commanding silence. I have reviewed all candidates with care and consideration. Each possesses qualities befitting a queen. Each would serve the kingdom honorably. The Omegas lean forward hopefully. However, I have made my choice. The Omega who will be my consort is already present in this chamber. Confusion ripples through the room. The presented Omegas look at each other, uncertain. Kale's eyes find Alara. Approach. Time stops. Alara sets down the wine urn, hands shaking. Every eye in the chamber tracks her movement as she crosses to stand before the king. Kneel, he commands. She kneels, not in submission, but in acknowledgement of the moment. Kale's voice carries through the chamber. This Omega saved my life twice. She possesses medical knowledge that will benefit the kingdom's healers. She survived unspeakable trauma and emerged with her humanity intact. She understands survival, endurance, and the cost of leadership. Most importantly, she sees me as a man, not just a crown. That is the partner I choose. The chamber erupts. Lords shouting objections. Presented Omegas stunned. Cashin standing firm at his father's side. Thorn's voice cuts through. My king, she is damaged. Barren. Without house or bloodline. This is madness. Kale's voice drops to deadly calm. Are you questioning my judgment, Thorin? I am questioning your sanity. Then challenge me. Here.
Now.
Blade or claw, your choice. Thorin pales. No one challenges Kale, Ashenfur, and Levs. Any other objections? Kale's gaze sweeps the council. Speak now or accept my choice permanently. Silence. Resentful, but silence. Kale extends his hand to Alara. Stand. Stand as my equal. She rises, takes his hand. The touch sends electricity through both of them. This Omega is now under my direct protection. Any harm to her is harm to me. Any insult to her is insult to the crown. She will be trained in protocol, educated in governance, and formally claimed at the next full moon. He pauses. The council is dismissed. The chamber empties in chaos. Only Cashin remains, grinning. Well played, father. Kale pulls Alara close, speaks against her hair. That was the easy part. Now we face the truly difficult challenge. What is that, Alpha King? Learning to be happy. Together. Despite everything that tells us we do not deserve it. She looks up at him. This brutal king who chose to live again because she refused to let him remain a ghost. Then we will learn, Alpha King. one day at a time. He kisses her before the throne, before his son, claiming her with touch what he has already claimed with words. When they break apart, Cashin speaks. The kingdom will adjust. Change is always chaos before it becomes new order. Kale keeps Alara close. Let them talk. Let them adjust. I have spent 17 years being what they needed. Now, I will be what I need. If the kingdom cannot adapt, I will make it adapt. It is not arrogance. It is a man who has finally chosen himself after years of sacrifice. The full moon rises over Valdris. Alara stands in ceremonial robes, not white for purity. She rejected that symbolism, but deep crimson for survival and blood. Her scars are visible, uncovered. She is not hiding. Kale waits at the ritual stone, dressed in formal wolf pelts and bronze crown. The kingdom watches, lords, warriors, servants, all gathered. The high priest speaks the ancient words of mate bonding. Alara repeats them, voice strong. When Kale speaks his vase, his voice cracks with emotion. I claim you before the pack, before the gods, before the kingdom. Not as property, but as partner. Not as weakness, but as strength. You are mine, and I am yours. Irrevocably. He bites her shoulder, the claiming mark. She gasps but does not flinch. Then, in a move that shocks the kingdom, she bites him back. A reverse claim, not in tradition but made so by her choice. Kale's eyes widen, then soften with something that looks like joy. The kingdom witnesses the impossible, a broken Omega claiming an Alpha King with equal ferocity. When they turn to face the crowd, hands joined, Cashin begins the howl. Other wolves join, acceptance, however reluctant. Kale and Alara stand together, scarred and whole, broken and rebuilt, proving that the strongest bonds are forged not in perfection, but in shared survival. That night, in the king's chambers, he finally makes her his in body as well as bond. It is not gentle. It is not perfect. But it is real. Two damaged people choosing each other despite every reason not to, building something new from the wreckage of what they were. Afterward, as they lie tangled in wolf pelts, Alara speaks. The lords still resist. Let them. We have time to change minds. And if they never change, then we rule anyway, together. That is enough. She traces the new scar on his shoulder, her mark. I love you. I did not think I was still capable, but I do. I know. I love you too. Terrifying that. They lie in comfortable silence, two survivors who found in each other not salvation, but partnership. Not rescue, but mutual recognition. The kingdom will adapt. Or it will not. Either way, the broken Omega and the Ghost King have chosen life. Together. That is victory enough. Final subscription reminder. Recognition before romance. Endurance before love. Partnership forged in fire. If these stories speak to you, if you understand that the strongest bonds are earned through survival, not gifted through circumstance, subscribe. Let's build a space where these truths endure.